The modern highway is not a road, but a 2-ton per unit museum of abandoned engineering that the average person will walk past while they are actively starving and freezing to death. Imagine the silence of an I-95 corridor where the rhythmic cycling of compressors has died, replaced by a cold wind that turns a gridlocked line of vehicles into a collection of metal coffins. Most survivors make the terminal mistake of checking the glove box for a handgun or the trunk for a stray bottle of water before moving on, treating a dead car as a dead end rather than a roadside container of survival materials. The reality you must face is that the systems keeping society running are held together by assumptions and just-in-time logistics that evaporate within 72 hours of a grid failure, leaving millions of people in a state of digital lobotomy where they cannot navigate or survive without a smartphone. In this immediate post-grid environment, your survival is dictated by the multiplier rule, which states that every ounce of gear you carry must perform at least 3 critical functions, and the dead car sitting in your driveway or stalled on the exit ramp is the ultimate source for these multi-purpose survival treasures. While the tactical community fights over expensive nylon backpacks and $800 knives, the serious survivor recognizes that a single abandoned vehicle contains more refined metal, high-tensile fabric, and chemical compounds than a decade's worth of Amazon wish lists.
The first and most powerful treasure hidden in plain sight is the seatbelt, an item that provides the strongest cordage you will ever find in a collapsed world. There is a dangerous misunderstanding among preppers that military-grade paracord is the pinnacle of binding technology. Yet paracord is rated for only 550 pounds of tensile force and stretches when wet, leading to saggy ridge lines and structural failures in the rain. The hidden science of automotive engineering tells a different story. Each car contains 3 to 5 seatbelts made of tightly woven polyester webbing, engineered to restrain a human body during a 60-mile-per-hour impact. Evidence shows that this material can handle roughly 6,000 pounds of tensile force before failing, meaning a single strap pulled from a dead car is 10 times stronger than the cordage people fought over at camping stores 3 weeks ago. Survival implications suggest that by cutting the belt as close to the anchor point as possible, you acquire 30 to 40 feet of flat webbing that functions as a tow line, a medical tourniquet, a heavy-duty lashing for shelters, or a comfortable restraint system for securing loads to your back. As the crisis escalates and your clothes begin to wear out, or your pants loosen from caloric deficits, these belts become the structural foundation of your mobility and gear integrity. Transitioning from the exterior constraints to the interior structure, you find the second treasure that looters consistently overlook, the headrest bars.
These bars represent a criminal oversight in the survival community because they are essentially hardened steel tool blanks waiting to be deployed. Analysis of modern seating reveals that every adjustable headrest is mounted on 2 chrome-plated steel rods, usually 8 to 12 inches long and about the diameter of a human finger. The misunderstanding here is that the headrest is just for comfort, but the hidden science of metallurgy confirms that these are straight, strong, and corrosion-resistant pieces of steel. By sharpening one end against a piece of concrete or a river rock, you create a punch, an awl, or a crude stabbing implement for self-defense that is far more effective than a sharpened stick. Evidence of their versatility extends to lash point engineering. You can secure these rods to a straight branch using your seatbelt webbing to build a spear that can actually penetrate a target, or bend them into hook shapes to snag items from hard-to-reach places. In a survival situation where you must build or defend a position, having an arsenal of metal tools that nobody is competing for gives you a technical advantage that transcends the tactical aesthetic. This leads directly into the third treasure, the side mirrors, which solve the problem of information and fire when matches are a distant memory. A detached side mirror is not just a piece of glass. It is a refined optical tool with a reflective coating that functions as a survival multiplier through the physics of reflected light. Most people think of mirrors as a way to check their reflection, but the hidden science of thermodynamics allows a car mirror to focus sunlight onto a pile of tinder to start a fire without matches, lighters, or batteries. Furthermore, this mirror serves as a high-visibility signaling device that can flash sunlight across distances of several miles, allowing you to communicate across open terrain or attract rescue aircraft that cannot see a human shape against a gray landscape. This survival implications also cover tactical observation. By holding a mirror on a stick around a corner or over a ledge, you can clear rooms or check hallways without exposing your head and body to potential threats. This capability makes searching for supplies in blacked-out urban ruins dramatically safer, as vision becomes the primary currency of survival in a world without 911. As you move from the mirrors to the heavy lifting of survival energy, you encounter the fourth treasure, the car battery. The car battery is the most powerful portable energy source you will find in a collapsed world. Yet it is ignored because it is heavy and does not look like traditional gear. The analytical truth is that a standard 12-volt battery holds 40 to 60 amp-hours of energy, and even a dead battery that cannot turn an engine over usually has enough residual charge to power low-draw LED lights or a small emergency radio for weeks. The hidden science of electrical short-circuiting allows you to start a fire in any weather condition by touching the positive and negative terminals simultaneously with a thin wire or a strip of steel wool, generating enough heat to ignite tinder instantly. Evidence suggests that a single battery can start hundreds of fires, even in wind and rain, where butane lighters fail because of pressure drops. Survival implications are massive for fixed shelter locations, as a salvaged battery becomes a power plant that allows you to maintain light and information flow while the rest of your neighborhood fumbles in the darkness like cavemen. Escalating from energy to the biological necessity of water, we find the fifth treasure, the cabin air filter. The cabin air filter represents the one automotive component that genuinely separates those who understand the biological hierarchy of survival from those who are doomed to succumb to waterborne pathogens within the first 96 hours of a collapse. Tucked behind the glove compartment or under the passenger side dashboard of every modern vehicle is a multi-layered filtration unit designed to strip dust, pollen, and debris from the atmospheric intake before it enters the cabin. In a grid-down environment where the water clock has run out and municipal pressure has failed, you are no longer looking for a filter to clean the air, but a pre-filtration medium for the murky, sediment-heavy water you've been forced to pull from a drainage ditch or a stagnant pond. The dangerous misunderstanding here is that you can simply boil chocolate milk water and be safe. The hidden science of microbiology proves that pathogens can hide inside clumps of sediment, shielded from the thermal violence of boiling, and emerge to colonize your intestines once ingested. Evidence suggests that a cabin air filter, often infused with an activated carbon layer, is the perfect tool for the critical first stage of purification, removing the large-scale organic matter and sediment that would otherwise clog a commercial filter in seconds or render chemical treatments ineffective. Survival implications are profound. By folding this filter into a funnel or laying it over a collection jar, you make your water dramatically more palatable and technically safer, bypassing the dehydration-induced cognitive decline that kills people who find their water source too disgusting to drink. As the biological threat of thirst is mitigated, the escalation of survival moves toward resource acquisition and security, leading us to the sixth treasure hidden in every chassis, the wiring harness. This is the circulatory system of the vehicle, containing anywhere from half a mile to a full mile of high-grade copper wire connecting every light, sensor, and motor to the central battery. while the average looter is looking for copper pipe to sell as scrap in a functioning economy. The serious survivor sees the wiring harness as an infinite supply of mechanical rope that never rots, stretches, or weakens in the rain.
The hidden science of automotive circuitry provides wires of varying gauges, from hair-thin signal lines to thick power cables, each insulated in color-coded plastic that resists environmental degradation. Evidence from field manuals suggests that thin-gauge copper wire is the premier material for building a passive food production system. A single harness yields enough material to set 50 small game snares that work while you sleep, providing a consistent protein supply without the noise and resource consumption of firearms. Furthermore, the survival implications extend to the shadow grid of communication. By winding medium-gauge wire into coils, you can build a basic antenna to improve radio reception, allowing you to intercept emergency broadcasts or coordinate with an adaptive network across distances that would otherwise leave you in an information blackout. The seventh and final treasure is the most unglamorous, but perhaps the most critical for managing the thermodynamics of a cold night: the floor mats, trunk liners, and every piece of interior fabric you can rip from the frame. We've established that a modern home becomes a thermal icebox during a blackout, and the same principle applies to sleeping in the ruins of civilization. The ground is a heat vampire that will pull energy from your body 25 times faster than the air through conduction. The analytical truth is that the rubberized floor mats you step on every day are waterproof, durable ground sheets that eliminate conductive heat loss, providing a moisture barrier that keeps your sleeping gear dry and your core temperature stable. The hidden science of automotive upholstery reveals that trunk liners and headliners are engineered composites of synthetic fibers and foam designed specifically to insulate the cabin from external noise and temperature. Evidence from survival psychology proves that while everyone else is burning their furniture and advertising their position with smoke and light, the survivor, wrapped in 3 layers of automotive insulation, can sleep comfortably in total darkness, maintaining invisibility from predators. Transitioning from a state of mere existence to one of strategic dominance, you realize that the dead car sitting on the highway isn't wreckage. It is a 2-ton gift of refined material waiting for a mind clever enough to unwrap it. The final calculus of the junkyard engineering protocol is that 99% of people will walk past these treasures because they have been digitally lobotomized into seeing only the finished products the system sold them. They see a broken machine. You see 30 feet of 6,000-pound tensile cordage, a power plant for your electronics, a pharmacy of sterile filters, and an arsenal of hardened steel tools. In the immediate post-grid environment, your advantage isn't in what you bought before the collapse, but in your ability to recognize resources where everyone else sees waste. The multiplier rule dictates that the person who can turn a seatbelt into a tourniquet and a side mirror into a signal flare is the person who inherits the ruins. As the supply chain evaporates and the world reverts to a state governed by physics and chemistry, your survival will depend on whether you can stop seeing the world through the lens of a consumer and start seeing it through the lens of a scavenger. The highways are full of abandoned survival kits disguised as vehicles. The only question is whether you have the knowledge to claim them before the winter wind makes your indecision permanent.